Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you are enjoying this holiday period. Today we will speak about Alibaba. There are a lot of things going on which are significantly affecting its stock price, which is actually going down and down and down in last several weeks. And if you are not familiar with things around it, I will explain to you what actually happened, what event caused the start of all of these issues and probes and investigations around the Alibaba company and Chinese public institutions. And we will see what are the latest news, and I will explain to you what could happen with Alibaba and what is my personal opinion, what actually might happen. But before we move on to that, here you can see performance of my portfolio. It is sitting right now above $51,000, which is unbelievably good. At the beginning of this year, I really didn't expect it to come close to this number. So my year-to-date return is almost 45%. And as you can see here, my cash position actually declined compared to the last video. And what I did is I bought 100 shares of Walgreens. I actually saw an article on internet that US citizens will start receiving vaccines of COVID-19 in Walgreens pharmacies. And Walgreens actually went down during that day or day after. So I actually went and looked deeper into the company, and I wasn't extremely thrilled around this company, but I really feel it is undervalued at these prices, so I simply initiated starting position in it. I plan to make another video this year. Well, perhaps I might go a little bit more deeper into my portfolio and this year's performance. So let's just move on to today's topic. As you have probably heard, Ant Group had filed for a IPO this year. It is a financial institution, and its IPO was worth more than 100 billion. And it was supposed to be the biggest IPO ever. And Alibaba has ownership of around 35%. And who has a big chunk of ownership of Alibaba? Jack Ma. And consequently, since Ant's IPO was approaching, Alibaba shares were going higher and higher because of a market cap and valuation of Ant Group popping up. Because demand for their shares was skyrocketing, everything was bullish, sentiment was great, and consequently Alibaba stocks went to almost $320. And if you perhaps remember, I used to own 20 or 30 stocks of Alibaba, and I sold them at around $310. My personal opinion was that Alibaba as a company is worth around $300 a stock, and when they went above 310, I simply didn't see a very good long-term returns on that current price. And what actually happened is that Jack Ma, there was a financial conference in Shanghai, and he was asked something about Chinese financial system and dangers which are surrounding it. He said that there aren't any issues or possible threats to Chinese financial system because China doesn't have financial system. And everybody started laughing, and oh my god, what a mistake did he do? Because he basically slapped Chinese Communist Party in front of one of the most important financial summits in China. We didn't have to wait for a long time for a retaliation of Chinese Communist Party, and they simply cancelled Ant Group's monster IPO, as you can see on this headline of Bloomberg. And consequently, Alibaba shares went down for around 8% during that day. You can see it on the next chart. And soon after that, Chinese government institutions and different public institutions announced investigations and potential anti-monopoly new legal system, because of which Alibaba's shares again went down for another 5 to 10%. And recently they went down again, because as you can see here, Ant Group actually decided to lower borrowing limit for young borrowers using its virtual credit card product because they wanted to promote rational spending limits among users. Actually, this is when I bought 10 stocks of Alibaba. Usually I hold between 20 and 30 stocks of Alibaba when I think they are undervalued. But this time I bought only 10 stocks because this doesn't have anything to do with business outlook of Alibaba, but it is purely political witch hunt and simply a retaliation of Chinese Communist Party against Alibaba and Jack Ma. And who knows how is this going to end up. That is why I actually bought only 10 stocks. And today in pre-market they are falling for another 8% in US because Chinese authorities have launched an anti-monopoly investigation. The market regulator said it was looking into Alibaba's policy of choose one or two. We don't have to go much deeper into this because, again, they can investigate whatever they want. Chinese Communist Party and public institutions are the law in China. They don't have to find some particular violations of law. They can do their investigations and they can make whatever conclusion they want. And they can do whatever they want with Alibaba, Jack Ma, or I don't know. So I don't think we have investigated deeper into their investigation. So now we are coming with actually what could happen with Alibaba. Why are stocks falling this sharply and what might actually happen at the end? There are two areas which we should speak about. The first one is the actually business outlook of Alibaba as a company. And on that one, we won't actually spend any time today because it doesn't currently matter in this period. Their business performance, their business outlook, and their financial situation doesn't have anything to do with current drop in their share prices. So it's all about political battle between Xi and Jack Ma. Of course, we've seen more and more headlines in China's news that anti-monopoly has become an urgent issue that concerns all matters. So all of a sudden, or basically overnight, it becomes huge concern in China. So President Xi is actually attacking and retaliating Jack Ma. So again, this is more tactical question about what could happen with Alibaba, more than regulatory or business question. Alibaba and Jack Ma are some kind of poster child of Chinese success and tech prestige. So if President Xi can destroy or harm or put Jack Ma and Alibaba in their place, if you know what I mean, that could be a huge sign to all of the other people in China. If they can do that to Alibaba and Jack Ma, you can imagine what they actually can do to smaller company and to more influential people. And China has more than enough ammunition to basically completely destroy these companies if they want. Of course, there are some concerns and possible dangerous consequences to Chinese government if they do this, but again, I think they have power here to basically decide what will happen. Jack Ma is in the corner. He apologized to politicians. He offered them stake in Ant Group. He's basically cooperating in every single matter, but politicians are publicly basically ashamed of because of what Jack Ma said on that summit, and it is yet to be seen how far do they want to go and what will have to happen in order for them to be satisfied. So Alibaba has invested in vast array of Chinese startups, from social media to online e-commerce to cloud companies, processing payments companies, etc., etc. Alibaba has stakes in, 20, 30, 50 companies in China. And again, since we all depend on decisions of Chinese politicians, we cannot know what will happen. My personal opinion is at the end, since Jack Ma is cooperating, he has backed up, he has admitted that he made mistake and that Chinese government, Chinese politicians are the ones which are in a situation of power, that he is their little puppet basically. I think they will be satisfied at the end, but they do want to make an example of him to others and what could happen to them. I don't think they will significantly harm Alibaba because they need big tech company to compete with other tech companies of the world. But who knows? That is why actually I'm still holding on in 10 stocks. What could happen at the end is this. China could just be bluffing here. And again, they just wanted Jack Ma to apologize, to understand that he doesn't have any power in China, that he's still under the will of government agencies and politicians, not only to him, but to show example to other people. And they will issue perhaps some small fine to Alibaba, and that's it. That would be best case scenario for us as a stockholders. If this happens, we would soon be back near all-time highs. Ant Group would file the IPO again and everything would be good. In second part, Alibaba could be forced to sell a lot of their current investments. As I have already mentioned, they have ownership stakes in dozens of Chinese companies. If they would be forced to sell those stakes, that could harm them in the mid and long term because it would cut their wings and their growth trajectories. And I think that Alibaba at $250 in this case looks as a fairly valued company. I don't think we will go near $300 or $320 and near all-time highs if Alibaba will have to sell their holdings in other Chinese companies. But again, it's really hard to say what will they have to sell. It is still yet to be seen how far will Chinese authorities want to go with this. They could just force Alibaba to sell one or two insignificant companies just to make example to others. And there is of course possibility, I would rate it as a nightmare scenario, that could cause another massive decline in stock prices of Alibaba if they say that Alibaba is operating in gray area, in shadow banking sector. They could be hardly controlled, hardly fined, regulated, checked, and basically their freedom in financial sector would be completely destroyed. I personally think that they don't want to harm Alibaba too much because at the end millions and millions of jobs in China depends on Alibaba. A lot of Chinese people also have Alibaba stocks, so they don't want to be too aggressive in this scenario. But again, they have to show to public what will happen if you speak about China, about Chinese government, like Jack Ma spoke on that summit. Again, it is yet to be seen what will happen. Nobody knows. This is personal vendetta of President Xi, so I will not buy any additional shares right now at these prices. This perhaps could be a good reminder to all of us. For number one, that no matter how good the company, business outlook, business performance in the past looks like, you should always diversify your investments. And the second part, you should always bear in mind that investing in Chinese companies bears another set of political risks.